show here on MMS. We're postponing it by a week because we were going to get cut in by the Cavs game on Saturday night. So the show is called 2 Hours to Midnight. I'm your host, along with Corey Roddick and Pat Butler, and as many Saturdays as we can do it, we're going to do it. 10 to midnight on Saturday nights. Brand new metal show here on MMS. There is an email address. Local bands hitting me up because we want to dig into some of that too. It's going to be stuff that I like, that Corey likes. We are the triumvirate of metalheads here at iHeart. And so we'll be your hosts week to week on this show. And it'll be a lot of stuff that we dig, but we want to hear from local bands. The email is the number 2htm@wmms.com. A number of bands have already sent me some of their stuff. If we like it, we'll play it. But we'll be telling you about shows that are coming through, and we'll have tickets for shows and blah, blah, blah. So we're very excited to do it. We're going to launch it this Saturday night, but the Cavs game was conceivably going to be an issue. So we're going to premiere it on March the 11th. That is a week from this Saturday. That'll give us an extra week to prepare for you. So 10 o'clock, March the 11th, we'll kick off 2 hours to midnight here on MMS. Hey, today is the last day of February, which means, by my math, let me check my notes, tomorrow is the first day of March, which means there'll be a brand new promo code at CLE Clothing Company. Today's the last day you can use the promo code HEARTTHROB and get 20% off. If you haven't seen that Buzzard St. Paddy's Day shirt, that is an online-only situation, so pre-order that. Because those go very, very quickly anytime we drop a new Buzzard item. Cleveland Clothing's website. But otherwise, if you find yourself in one of their stores today, or even online, you can use Heartthrob today. And then we'll have a brand new promo code for you tomorrow to kick off March. What would that be?
Lucky?
You're warm.
Okay, then that takes away my guess.
You were going to guess lucky?
I was going to guess madness, but if he's warm...
Madness, yeah, well, that too. No.
Clover?
No, you're dancing around it.
Gold.
Nope. Gold! Use the promo
Shamrock.
code GOLD! Shamrock is what I was looking for. Use the promo code GOLD for 20% off. No. Shamrock is what we were looking for. Get it? Because of rock?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have it in me when I said, hey, can I pick the code word again? Because I'm kind of 1-1 with picking the code words now. You know, Cleveland Clothing used to have me picking the code words until I got too weird with them. Because I thought that was kind of... Funny, and that's what I'm all about, the funny. And so recently I was like, hey, let me start picking the promo codes again. And they go, okay. So February, I gave them Throb for Valentine's Day. And they were like, they met me halfway. Let's do Heartthrob. Okay. This time I go, let's just do Shamrock. It's easy. I wasn't going to come up with something, I don't know.
Blarney.
Promo code Blarney. No, so Shamrock, beginning tomorrow and through the entire month of March, will be, March already, boy.
I know.
Will be your promo code. Happy birthday today, by the way, to anybody who is a leap year baby. I think next year is a leap year. But if you know anybody born on February 29th, the couple of leap year people that I know, they celebrate on February the 28th. I think the move is to only celebrate your birthday every 4 years. I think people, especially adults, kids, obviously, it's a different situation. But when you're an adult, like anywhere, I say north of, what's the last milestone birthday? 16? I mean, people say 21. Who cares? Everybody's drinking before they're 21 anyway.
I said 25.
Because you can rent a car. But, I mean, insofar as making your birthday a big deal, I think anything north of like 16, silly.
Why did the 30, my dirty 30, I think that's the last one probably.
Yeah, but that's like, you're a grown-ass man by that time.
But it is
like
a
what?
milestone birthday.
I think
Well,
if
what
you get to
though?
100, that's a milestone.
But then you could say that, 100's a milestone. It's a legit milestone. But you could say that every 10th birthday is a milestone. You go,
Okay,
it's
well,
my
then
20th,
yes.
my 30th. I mean, But people don't celebrate their 20th; they celebrate their 21st.
Well,
And
that's just because
the
of
only
the
people
law.
who make a big deal about their 30th birthday is people who are terrified of getting older.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Why would you, as a grown man, make a big deal about your 30th birthday?
There's a dirty 30. Like the death of your 20s, and you're like 30,
the
flirty, and
death of
thriving.
your 20s?
Yes.
The death of your 20s. See, words give you away. And when people talk about the death of their 20s, they go, "No, I'm 30." Nobody goes, "Yay, I'm 30. I got through those awful 20s." A lot of people, they do that because it seems that well, you just said it. They lament that their 20s are gone. And they go, "Well, it's my dirty 30."
I don't know about that. I think you're allowed to celebrate
Well, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
a birthday like that.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. Bill, did you have a dirty 30
I think he
birthday
did.
party?
Not that I was
You didn't
around.
even know me then.
I think he
wasn't even on the
did.
show yet.
No, I didn't know you when you were 30.
I think we did.
Yeah, maybe I did.
30th. We knew each other a little bit, but we weren't like, I wasn't on
In
the show
passing,
yet.
right? Yeah.
Like I had,
Our wives were friends.
let's see. What did I think I did one. I don't remember.
A
though.
dirty 30.
I don't remember. It definitely wasn't like a dirty 30. I didn't have that kind of thing, but I'm sure I celebrated somehow.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being like specifically focused on me turning 30 years old.
I mean, I guess if you're, Poundcake's a single guy, or whatever, right? It's all, when I turned 30, I was married with a kid. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
Whatever, Alan.
What are you going to do?
I mean,
So what are you going to do when you turn Poundcake? I mean, theoretically, because we know that Ouija board says you'll die at 35, okay?
Mhm.
Let's say on the infinitesimal possibility that the Ouija board is incorrect, and then you go on to live a long and fruitful life. Well, you go on to live a long life.
Maybe.
What will you do for your 40th?
Probably a trip. I'm over like parties. I'm all about the trips now. I don't want any presents. I don't want like.
No, you should have experiences.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
all for the trips. Like
Right.
the fact that we were out of town and we did something that was perfect because I've always done things for other people's birthdays. Like the Chicago trip was a birthday trip. I feel like Toronto was a birthday trip as well. I feel like anytime I go on a trip, it's for someone else's birthday. This was like a joint birthday because we all have them close together. But still, I got to a place I never I'd never been to before. Stayed in a cabin, chef, the whole nine. So I'm all about doing that from now on.
I've been browsing just whatever you do on Zillow, Poundcake, is kind of what I've been doing on Airbnb lately.
It's interesting,
Where
isn't
I
it?
just go to the mansions and just look through them, and they're not super, like if you get a crew of people together,
You can afford it.
you can afford it, and it's very tempting to go stay in some of these gigantic mansions and just
Isn't it-
make that your trip.
The house that we stayed
Isn't
in.
it also amazing what awful taste a lot of rich people have
Oh,
in
yeah.
decoration? Like, money doesn't buy you taste.
Right.
Right? At the very least, like, hire a decorator or something. It's wild.
Well, a lot of the
the
stuff
houses, you're like, oh my God, what, is Dracula living in here?
But
it's very dated stuff
Yes.
because these mansions have sat empty for
Old
quite
money
some
or
time.
whatever.
But also, you see how expensive and inexpensive where you live is. Because when we stayed in Colorado, the house we stayed in was a $2.5 million house. And so I automatically called it a mansion. I'm like, it's $2.5 million. Of course it's going to be a mansion. And we get there, and don't get me wrong, it is a nice house in a very hoity-toity neighborhood. It's overlooking the mountains. They had a hot tub, but it was by
Overlooking the mountains. How high was this house?
well, we were in Breckenridge, so we were on like a house on a hill.
They were overlooking mountains.
Like you could see mountains.
He had a mountain
in
view
the distance.
is what he meant.
Oh, well, he said overlooking
I know,
the
but
mountains.
he's a dumb boy, so he doesn't use words correctly.
Poundcake. I know what he meant. I'm just breaking his balls.
I know.
But it was by no means a mansion, and it was $2.5 million. And I'm like, I cannot believe this house. It was 6 bedrooms, but I was like, I can't believe this house is. We're staying in a multi-million-dollar house. Like it made no sense to me.
Oh yeah, my buddy he and his wife have lived in LA for 10 years now, 10 plus years. And they both no kids, my age. And they both have really good jobs, make a ton of money. And I was like, are you ever going to buy your house? It's not a huge house. It's like a smallish LA bungalow. And he goes, no, they still rent their house. Because he's like, I'm not going to pay $2.5 million for this bungalow.
Yeah.
He's like, whoever owned the house has since died, but specified that the whoever's dealing with the rent now, the company or whatever, couldn't jack the rent up. So he's like, it's a great house. He goes,
Hang on to it, yeah.
He goes, it's all we need. We will rent until they kick us out. He's like, because otherwise we'd have to pay $2.5 million for this little bungalow. So yeah, it's silly.
I just sent you this Airbnb on to the group chat, and it's like $1,500 a night, and it's in Kentucky, and it is a palace. But talk about that gaudy, rich designer style.
It's like Trump's apartment in New York.
Yeah, if you look through it, and like it's, I mean, I would love to stay here just because it's so big, and you know, it's ridiculous, but it is very like. The walls are painted with like scenery, and so it's just real tacky looking, but ginormous. Just like
there's
huge,
a great show,
and
I don't know what it's on. We stumbled onto it on Hulu. I don't know what channel it originates from, but it's you know Retta, the comedian. She's on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
She hosts this show, The Ugliest House in America, and she goes to 4 different parts of the country and looks at 4 houses in that part of the country. And then each week, one of those is designated the ugliest house, and then they all go head-to-head, and then one wins at the end. So I think it's only like a 4 or 5 week thing. It is wild what's in these houses. Like one family bought an old school, but didn't have the money to really tear things out. Another family is living in a funeral home.
Oh, no.
And didn't have the money to tear things out. And so I'm like, oh, my God. So
that's the thing. If you are going to buy one of these places, you gotta have either money or time or just know how to actually renovate the place so you're not just living.
Well, but they get them because
school.
They get them because they're like, we wanted a house and it was so low.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, yeah, it's an old funeral home, but nobody wants it. So the price was so low. We have a house. Yeah. But it's bananas inside. Alan, I cried and masturbated when I turned 30 and 40. Imagine that.
I masturbated for sure.
I mean, why the crying, though? Why the crying? You grew up Catholic, too, or? Alan, my wife is a realtor. She'll show me pictures of multi-million-dollar homes with some of the worst decor inside.
I don't know why they don't just get it staged.
One home was overtly sexual with naked paintings of everyone, of people of all ages.
Oh, man.
You know,
that's a red flag.
What did Bob Wall say in Batman? You know why the rich are so different? Because they can afford to be. Naked paintings everywhere. Listen, I don't have a problem with that. Naked paintings of people. You walk into somebody's house like that, you know what's up. You know the terrain in which you're currently deployed. You go, hey, all right. When this guy parties, he parties. If you want to leave us messages on the iHeartRadio app, you can do it there. A little talkback button for you.
Hey, Alan. Not sure if you ever watched Sons of Anarchy. There was a character named Half Sack. In real life, he killed his grandmother, and I want to say jumped off a roof in his Hollywood mansion or something of that nature. Or the police shot him, or he's in prison. Something crazy. But, yeah, he was a little touched in the head.
So many different options. He either jumped off of a roof, or he shot himself, or the cop shot him.
He kind of got some of it right. Yeah. Do you remember that story?
Not really.
Johnny Lewis was the actor. He's been dead now 12 years. 10 years. He died September of 2012. He was 28 years old. He murdered his landlady. He was on a bunch of shows. He was on Sons of Anarchy. He was on a bunch of stuff. And he dated Katy Perry back in the day. But he always had problems. He was like a Scientologist, and they put him through rehab. He was getting arrested all the time. He murdered his landlady. He had been arguing with her, and they found her stabbed to death in her home, and she was 81. And I think he had killed the dog or something, or her pet cat. He killed it, left it in the bathroom. They think that he fell off the roof because they found him on the driveway, and he was dead. and bleeding from the head. And he didn't have any, for a guy who was constantly having substance abuse problems, they said he didn't have any substances in his system when he died. He didn't have any drugs, didn't have any alcohol, nothing. So this guy ends up freaking out, killing his landlady and the cat, getting up on the roof and then falling off. But yeah, he was on Sons of Anarchy. The character was Half Sack because he lost a nut in the story. I don't think in real life. Were we talking about celebrities who killed people? Oh, we were talking about Michael Jace, the dude from
The Shield.
Right. Yeah, because I got a message about that. Somebody calling me out.
Oh, in today's episode of All Black People Look the Same to Alan Cox podcast listener, you were talking about the TV bailiff from Judge Judy who killed his wife. Wrong. That was on the show Justice for All with Christina Perez as the judge. Different bailiff, different black guy. Absolutely hate the show, you racist piece of...
First off, Poundcake mentioned the bailiff who killed his wife, didn't he?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh, hell no, white man. You are not about to drag me in this grave with you. I did not say that.
First of all, what the hell is the other show he's talking about?
I don't know. There's
Christina Perez. I have to be familiar
shows.
with that show to confuse it with another show. What was it? Judge Up with Christina Perez? I don't know that show. I thought a bailiff killed his wife.
And the only thing I know about that story
It's not that all black people look the same to me. All bailiffs look the same to me.
it went viral a few, like, I don't know. I saw it on TikTok where they're like, there's a moment where he's talking about something about like, oh, that's a red flag for your wife, something like that. He's like talking about relationship stuff, and then they're like, and he actually killed his wife. Like there's like
Wrong.
a thing
That
about
was
that.
on the show Justice for All with Christina Perez as the judge.
Justice for All with Christina Perez? I've never even heard of that show. Okay, well, there you go.
Now that I looked her up,
That's the guy who killed his wife was Christina Perez's bailiff. Are you sure it wasn't Bull from Night Court who killed his wife? You'll recall all bailiffs look the same to me. I'm a bailist, Bill. Okay, anyway, thank you. Devotion accuracy. There you go. Never heard of that show, but I believe you. I got to take a break here. On the way back, you want to get to a Monsters game. They're going to be playing the Grand Rapids Griffins a week from tonight at the Romo Fijo. I'll have 4 tickets for you for the Cleveland Monsters. You want to text for anything, 35192, and we'll be back.
This is the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app or whatever smart device you have. Just tell it to play the Alan Cox Show on iHeartRadio. Buzzard Radio.
The Buzzard
Is Rover.
Just constantly entertained with mindless stuff.
Rock.
When I come around.